Hi, my name is Al Getler, and welcome back to another episode of Leader Be Led. Now, this is the third in a series of videos that we're talking to you about Google+. Now, you might hear that term Google+, and you might have a few reactions. What's Google+? Or, yeah, I know Google+ is out there, but why do I need a part of it? Or, geez, what is it about Google that I have to join yet one more thing? Well, our guest today is going to help us figure out why it's all important, answer those questions, and give us a few tips on how to maximize our use of Google+. I'm going to welcome back to the show Mark Traphagen. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Al, always great to be on Leader Be Led, and thanks for having me here again.
Well, thank you very much for being here. It certainly is a pleasure because you are the guy that clears it all up for us. It's a pretty big deal when someone calls you a Google Plus expert who is to be considered a Google Plus expert themselves. So you really have gone in here and analyzed Google Plus and found lots of ways to make it work. And the last time we spoke, by the way, for our viewers, this is the third of 3 episodes that we have on Google Plus with Mark. We started talking about Google authorship and how Google authorship really helps us be recognized in search results, ranks us in search results. But you were also talking about the last time that we're getting to the point where Google may be considering ranking Google authors in the areas of expertise and places that they show up. So tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, that's something called Google authorship, and we just touched on it last time. We're moving from, a lot of people have used this phrase, but we're moving from the web of strings to the web of things. And what we mean by that is strings, we mean like phrases. And we think of Google as a place where you search and you put in a phrase, I want to see red cat mittens. And Google's going to match you up with websites that have the words red cat mittens on them. And that's the way search worked in the early days. It was obviously more complex than that, but basically matching up phrases of words, strings of words. But now we're moving to the web of things, where Google is seeking to understand the connection. And by things, we mean people, places, bits of knowledge out there. Google calls it the knowledge graph. And they are helping their algorithm. They are teaching it, as it were. The algorithm is that machine code that's built into Google that understands the connections between things, between websites and between social sites, and now between people on the web, thanks to social web like Google+.
So there's that word again, though, algorithm. Mark. And when you say algorithm right away, I think there's certain people who go, uh-oh. But, because we all remember being challenged with algorithms at some point in our mathematic educational career. And an algorithm really is still a mathematical equation. But
Sure.
The algorithms of Google have become, as we spoke before, much more intuitive and much more designed to react almost as if the way our brain sorts things out and puts them in certain compartments. Is that correct?
That's very correct. And it's a fascinating thing to think that we live in an age where we're almost approaching what people call artificial intelligence. We're not there yet, and a lot of people would argue about whether we'll ever get fully there.
Sure.
But with sentient machines that are actually aware of their existence. But short of that, what's going on is amazing, because an algorithm is a mathematical formula, basically, that has what's called a feedback loop built into it, which means it can learn. The Google algorithm watches, as it were, what we do on the web. What do we click on? What do we not click on? What do we respond to? What do we share with other people? When we go to a page, do we come right back to the search results in 10 seconds, or do we stay there for 5 minutes?
Right.
All of that is information, data bits, that the algorithm feeds back and learns about what's important to humans and the way that humans make connections. So coming back to the authorship, Google authorship connection, one of the things that Google wants to be able to connect up is to be able to say, who on the web, being real people, are the authorities on any given topic. The people who other people, and especially other people who also have authority in a related subject, point to and say, that's the guy, that's the lady you want to go to when you want to learn about this. So authorship is a way of helping Google to do that. It's simply the ability to connect your Google Plus profile, which is your unique identity to Google, to your content anywhere on the web. And of course, it's already connected to any content that you put on Google+. That allows Google to track what happens with that content. When I write about certain topics, do people tend to get excited about it? Do they comment on it? Do they share it?
Right.
Do they point their friends toward it? Do they link to it from their websites? All of that begins to build an authority profile around me. And Google, always wanting to put together the best search results for people, wants to elevate those.
Right, but the last time we spoke, you introduced that concept to me, and I started thinking about it. I mean, one of the basic premises of demographics has always been birds of a feather flock together. Okay, and that goes back to long before even technology was involved with demographics. Even when green bar paper was used, we realized certain match sets that people of same likes and same preferences do tend to flock together. And so really to build your Google authorship ranking, is it fair to say that you should associate with more people who do like the things that you like, who do seek out the information that you seek out, and then if you have the right content, if you have quality content, those people are going to seek you and find you as an authority in that area?
Well, I think that is important. A lot of people call it influencer marketing, and it ties into the Google authorship and Google author rank concept as well. I do want to be careful in saying that, because sometimes if we emphasize that, people think, well, I'm not going to pay attention to anybody else, and I'm not even going to follow anybody else or engage with regular people. I'm only going to stalk the big influencers and get on their radar. As important as that is, you also have to have an audience.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to Google as well.
Yeah.
So there's really two things. It's if Google sees that you have relationships, active relationships with other people who are influential and considered authoritative in your subject areas, in your topical areas, that's going to build your authority. I mean, obviously, you mentioned Chris Brogan earlier. I got interviewed recently, and I'll be on a future podcast of his. When other people hear me on that podcast, if they don't know me but they know Chris Brogan, some of Chris Brogan's authority, trust, whatever they have in him, gets transferred to me. People would naturally, if they find me again on the web, they're going to trust me more because, hey, Chris Brogan interviewed him. So the same thing works here in this case. But you also have to have an audience. Yeah. And so I think it's important to not forget the little people, as it were, as well.
So I thought it was this interview with me that was going to increase your authoritativeness, but apparently I'm not good enough for you. So that's all right, Mark.
No, Al, you see, the way this works is when I'm on the next interview or podcast somewhere, I'll be talking about how now it's because I got interviewed by Al Getler.
Well, there are a few things already that I realized that I didn't realize cat mittens came in red because I've only had green. And when you mentioned the artificial intelligence, the crew here at my show know that subject well because that's how they refer to me, as artificial intelligence. So we got all that stuff worked out. Do you have some screenshots for us today, some things you want to show us in Google+?
Yeah, let's move on to something that I think is really intriguing and powerful and growing in popularity on Google+. That, again, we've been talking about things that help expand and build your reach, your influence. Authorship is one of those. Remembering that all these things are tied together. What I want to talk about today is Google Plus communities. Mm-hmm. Some of your viewers may be familiar with groups on Facebook or groups on LinkedIn, and communities is a very similar kind of concept. So let's talk about first, how we find a community here. We're looking at a typical Google Plus home stream. So here I'm seeing posts and content from people that I circle on Google Plus. And by the way, from communities that I'm a part of. Some of that content can get pushed into that mainstream as well.
Sure.
Now let's say I want to join a community and I have a certain interest. I can go up to the Google search at the top here, and I'm going to type in Google get my space in the right place, authorship, because we already know that's something I'm interested in. Okay. And I hit the search here, and I come up to the search screen, and across the top there's tabs for different filters. Now I'm interested in communities, so I'm going to use the communities filter here. And when I hit that communities filter, I start to see communities that have some kind of topical relationship to Google authorship. Well, here's one that has 11,000 members. Let's take a look at that one.
What could that possibly be?
Who could have a community that has 11,000 members? Oh, I recognize that. That's my community.
Oh, that was the most self-serving moment that I've ever had on this show. I don't think Chris Brogan's going to put up with that on his show.
No, I wouldn't do that on his show, Al.
Oh, see?
I was slipping past that artificial intelligence of yours.
Okay.
But this is a Google Plus community. And you notice it looks pretty much like a Google Plus stream you'd see anywhere else. But I jumped on this opportunity when Google Plus communities were introduced, December 6th, I remember the date of last year, that I thought this is a topic that I'm interested in. I already know a lot of people that talk about Google authorship. Let's build a community around that. It's become the number one, the largest active community on the web discussing Google authorship and AuthorRank. In fact, I can tell you right now, if your followers will go out, your viewers will go out and do a search on Google for that term, Google authorship and AuthorRank, they'll see my community right there at the top of Google search.
Okay.
Now, this is a public community, which means anybody can come and join it. We have moderators in the community. I can make anybody who's a member a moderator. If you look at the upper right, you'll see Verante Search Marketing, our logo. That's the brand page of my agency. You can make pages owners, and if a page is an owner, its branding shows up right there on the community, which is kind of nice. So thousands of people join this community. Some of them find it in Google+. A lot of them now are finding it in Google Search, and it's drawing people into Google+. A lot of these people who are in here now, engaging on here, probably weren't active Google+ users, but they were interested in Google authorship. They found my community through Google Search, and all they needed was a Gmail account or whatever, and they're in, and they're engaging with experts and asking their questions. So communities have posts. You can divide up on the left side here. You can create what are called categories, or like topics that you can divide the posts up into. So if I just want to know about how-tos and tips on authorship, I click that category on the side, and the posts that come up are about that.
So do I, and this is, it sounds like a dumb question, but do I need to be a Google user? Do I have to have a Gmail account in order to get into Google+? Because, I'm asking this question because I've actually been asked that question myself. I have a company email address, or I have an AOL account from, back in 1994 when I got my first computer, and I never got rid of it. But I want to be part of Google+. Do I have to have a Gmail account?
Well, you have to have basically a Google account now. And
okay.
That's a great question, because what has changed dramatically with the introduction of Google+, and especially since about January of 2012, is that Google is basically like a one-passport site now, or not even site, it's a one-passport company. You have access to all of the Google services and in the most intimate way with your one Google account. Now, one of the things you'll get along with that Google account is a Gmail address that's linked to that account. You don't have to use it.
Right.
You don't have to use. That's the cool thing about Google, I guess, is that you can, you kind of mix and match. You use the pieces you want. If you use Maps and use YouTube, that's great. But it's all linked through your Google account.
Okay. So, because, that was basically the way I answered that question as well, is, you'll end up with a Gmail account, but you don't have to use that account.
Right.
It just gets you a passage into that. And that's a question that I know people have in their mind, so it's important to ask.
Sure.
So in these communities, Mark, first of all, can I start a community myself? Let's ask that question.
Anybody can start a community. And when you start it, you get options of, you can make it either private or public. And I belong to both kinds of communities. They're both useful. I have a number of private communities where people that are in my field, and we just kind of want to talk about stuff, the real inside secrets that we're not ready to reveal in public. We can do that in a private community. From a business standpoint, I've also created a community, for example, that I teach courses on social media marketing and on Google Plus and Google authorship out there. And anybody that pays to take one of my classes or courses, as a benefit of being in the course, gets admission into my private Google Plus community, where they have full access to me. They can ask me questions. So there's ongoing benefit to that. Huh. So just to say that there's private and there's public. I advise that you create the title of the community with keywords in mind. This is getting back into that search marketing,
right.
SEO edition, because the community can rank for its title, as you saw with mine. Again, I intentionally called it Google Authorship and AuthorRank because I knew that people were searching for that on Google. And because the community is active, because it's built influence, because a lot of active and influential Google Plus users belong to it, Google has given it authority, and where it now actually ranks number one in Google search, as we saw earlier.
Yeah. So really, when you pile everything you've talked about today on Google Plus and authorship and then community, I can really make a dent in the universe here with this stuff because I can end up being in a lot of places. I can end up forming groups. I can end up joining groups. Boy, there's so much more to talk about, Mark. You know, I fear that we're going to have to spill this one over into a fourth episode because we haven't gotten into a subject that I know a lot of people do need to know about in the business world, and that is, how does Google Plus affect the way I do business? And you reminded me when you said that you have a private area that when a person signs on to one of your courses or signs on with you as a customer, they have access to you now in an entirely different way through Google Plus that other people will not. So we're about out of time right now. Mark, I just want you to check your feed for a second. I sent you something, and I want you to bring it up on your shared screen, if you will. And while you're doing that, we'll keep you up there, and I'm gonna do some housekeeping things, and you can put that little snippet that I just sent you. But folks, you know, Leader Be Led is here for you. Guests like Mark are there to give you some expertise in areas that I think are really important going forward. So sharing the link for this video and this subject is so important. If you have a Google Plus account, one of the ways you can share a video, besides just putting a link in that, is explore a bit and add a video, and you can even take the URL from this video and post it right onto your Google Plus post, and this video will pop up, and you'll be helping your friends understand things quite a bit from a guy like Mark Traphagen, who know a lot. It's also important that you comment on this website or comment on our YouTube page and be able to become part of what the Leader Be Led community is all about. So, Mark, have you seen that yet? Has it popped up?
You sent me something on Google Plus?
I did, yeah. I posted it to you. I guess it didn't come, huh?
I got it.
Yeah, can you show that on your screen there real quick?
Yeah, let's put that up full view here.
Oh, yeah, let's see that.
All right.
And there,
cat mittens, and they're red.
And there you go. We have a red cat mittens right here on Leader Be Led. If it hasn't been seen before because of this guy, probably in South America, you mentioned red cat mittens, and there they are. So, and now on the screen showing is artificial intelligence. Well, it's gone now, but there it was. So anyway, Mark, thanks for being here. Folks, thank you for being here as well on Leader Be Led. We'll leave Mark on the screen. I want to thank you for joining us. Tell your friends about us, and we'll see you next time on Leader Be Led. Thanks. Take care.